Get Heavy Podcast, hosted by Craig Gonzalez.
Welcome to Get Heavy Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is. Quick couple things before we get started. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/getheavypodcast. $1 a month gets you in the door. Early access to episodes and bonus content. Rate, subscribe, follow, and review the podcast on all audio outlets. It really does help. Check out the YouTube. Hit that notifications bell, subscribe button. Doesn't mean shit to you, but it means a lot to me. And check out the merch, localshop.com/getheavypodcast. We got new merch dropping soon. I appreciate everyone that supported so far. Also, go ahead and give us a call on the Get Heavy Hotline, 805-666-2314. And you can leave your weird story, message, answer the question of the week, rates, reviews, fucked up shit, send your memes, text, voicemails, whatever you want. Know that it will maybe used on the podcast if it is good. Having said all that, enjoy the episode.
Yeah, I was just asking Craig before you joined, like, why he started it, because it back in 2016 you said?
Yeah, it was like something like that. We had done it. And,
yeah.
I always like to talk to people. I use this as a jumping off point, right? Like people that use that DIY ethos to create rad shit for themselves, right? You find a pretty modern through line, especially people that grew up either playing music and punk rock or being around it or it doesn't even have to be that, but people that use that DIY spirit they always end up creating something cool, so that was like the jumping off point to get, at least a focus point on it. And then it just turns into whatever conversation it is, but the podcast thing is, it's the best way to communicate. It's the best way to get information for me. I don't watch news. I don't watch any of that shit. If I want to really find out what's going on, I'll listen to a fucking hour and a half long conversation about it. From a couple different sides and go from there.
Yeah.
And then just blindly believe that the earth's flat.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, and then I took the horse paste, and the next thing
I run straight down to the farm shop.
Right.
It's nice to meet you. By the way, Tim.
Nice to meet you Craig. Too. Nice to meet you too.
Oh,
nice to meet you.
I've heard your voice, never seen your face.
Oh well, I hope it's not a letdown.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Right. Yeah.
Just kidding, man. No, it is a pleasure. I really do enjoy the podcast, right? So we made you a mixtape as a podcast. It's fun because I'm a huge music nerd. I know Chooch is, since I've known you literally were like the first person that made me a mixtape. Like when I got into our group of friends, like literally, like, and it was full of like hip hop and the Pixies and fucking shit that some kid that had no business being around got, it was awesome,
I was a big, I used to make a lot of mixed.
You did.
And I think that's probably why we kind of started doing this, although it is Tim's idea. And I'll let him tell you about that too. But like, just my favorite thing was always to make mixes with like a theme, like what, make a whole mix of like, cities, or whole mix about, with like hand claps in all the songs.
Right.
I think probably Sarah Newton probably has the most of them because I've just known her for so long that she's got like four versions, versions of the hand clap mixtape.
Oh,
like,
really?
So many. Yeah.
So funny, man.
Well, I'm glad I did make you one.
Yeah, you did. You definitely did. It was back in the I don't know, when you and Summer and everyone lived on the avenue, and I can't even remember which version of which house it was. We used to party over there, and I was, a little younger. It was before I met Rosie and everything, so.
Right.
But
Ramona. We lived on
the Ramona house. That's
Ramona.
what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah. It was good times back then. And you bailed out a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
You actually did it. I was supposed to move up to Seattle many years ago. And me and Tony Lopez were supposed to move up there, right?
Yeah.
We had this whole fucking plan, a year we saved up money. And I bailed out on him, dude.
He made it.
Literally bailed.
He made it.
So it was like I had met Rosie, and the band started picking up really like a lot, and we were on tour, and it was like, dude,
Which
this is
the
just
fucking Wrath, or
it was the Wrath at the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were starting to really get like touring, you know what I mean? And I was like, dude, now I'm going to quit and go start all over again. And me and Rosie my wife, Rosie, were hanging out. And so I remember having to tell Tony, like, hey, dude, I'm not going. And he's all, you usurping motherfucker. He was so mad at me, dude. But, you know, it all worked out in the end, you know. But
yeah.
it was good times back then.
Well, I had, it was like during the pandemic that I was like thinking the same thing as you, like, I just want to talk to somebody else that's not in my house, and just like really missing those kind of conversations that you're like when you go out to bars or you just go somewhere with people.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to talk about. And then we had a friend who invited us to do some like online trivia, and Tim was there, and he told this great story about when he ate too much pot edibles, and went to see Papa Gandhi.
Nice. Oh, and Papa Gandhi too?
That
nice.
did happen. Yeah.
I could get deep quick, you know what I mean? Watching a Papa Gandhi show, dude.
Thankfully, no. It was, well, anyway, go ahead. It
was like,
it was worn off by then. That I had made it out of the hospital and stuff by then. So it was a long, it's a long story. But,
that's beautiful.
It provided a lot of chuckle for everyone.
Yeah.
My pain, but that was pretty good. But I don't think we had talked for a while either.
Not a long time. Yeah.
How did you guys actually meet? Like, I mean, you guys both live in Olympia? Is that where you guys both are?
Yeah.
Okay. How did how did you guys meet?
Was like
go ahead.
when I first moved here, I think.
Yeah. Oh, so a while. Okay.
Yeah, and I just would go down to the bar, to the Reef, and you know.
Luckily, I was just a bar fly at the time.
So Tim would be down there, and then he was in a band called Hook and the Daggers with one of my good friends that I worked with. We both worked with a domestic violence shelter, and so she played bass in his band, Hook and the Daggers, and they, played, very short, under 1 minute songs.
Nice.
And just they were super fun, so they would play all over.
She likes to reiterate that point for some reason.
I like the very short songs.
Oh, it's important. It's an important thing to know about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
They were, but I think we just met from having a mutual friend, and then we would just be down at the bar and just sort of talking shit. Can we swear on this? Swearing. Okay?
Oh no, I'm Christian, dude. You can't.
I don't know. This is my first. This is our first guesting on.
I don't know if you can see this thing behind me, but very religious.
So we were just down there talking shit, and we would get into the total last call arguments about oh, that band sucks, or that kind of shit. And
it was Jawbreaker.
It was there was a lot of Jawbreaker talk because I'm like the only I might be like the only out of the closet Jets to Brazil fan. I think that's the thing.
Okay.
So I'm meaning it, right. So I was like, look, Jets to Brazil is great, blah blah, and then it would just be like, what? No, and so I don't know.
No, whatever. I mean the fucking debates are endless with music, you know what I mean? Especially when you get punk rock guilt and punk rock, you know what I mean, shit involved. It's like you're allowed to like the one band in the specific years and the only two albums, and then as soon as they got a different fucking drummer, you're like, this band's over.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. Endless debates.
And I think that that, especially fueled by the amounts of alcohol we were consuming at the time, it was just pretty much
want to double down.
These arguments are like the kind that leave the bar and are walking down the road
you guys are two assholes about arguing about Jets to Brazil at 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
So
we need those people. We need you people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and it evolved.
Mm-hmm.
It evolved, right? So and then I guess we didn't hang out really for a while, and then I think we kind of reconnected through the fantasy football league. Chooch's
right.
My fantasy football. It's my feminist fantasy football league. It's called Legion of Womb.
That's the most Olympia shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It really
It's
is.
so good. I was shocked that it was fantasy football in general. And now with the name, I get it. That's awesome.
The Legion of Womb.
That's a good one. You still do it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Tim does not. It stresses him out too much, but I've got somebody in the game right now. I was watching it right before I got here.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's crazy how much that fantasy shit changes your whole identity in liking sports. You know what I mean?
It's weird.
I couldn't give a shit until I think I did a fantasy league one year and I became the most psycho human. I was like, oh, this is bad for my heart. Like I can't be screaming at the TV because some dickhead fumbled. You know what I mean? Like
right. And also the way that the league's structured now, it's like it's not just Sunday. Like you have to like pay attention on Monday and Thursday and sometimes Saturday and all this bullshit. So it was like, so like my whole week was taken up with like, anyway.
So you're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's start a podcast. That'll be a lot less time.
Right.
Yeah.
I felt like it was nice to like, have my Sunday back at least, what I mean? To,
I feel
to
you,
work
man.
on the podcast. So
that's good.
Yeah. Sundays when we record, it's like every other Sunday.
Okay.
So,
that's right.
I got a pit bull trying to knock down my door.
Perfect. Nice.
But yeah, like after this trivia night, I don't know. Wait, was it
I
you?
called. Yeah, I texted you and I said, "Hey, let's do a podcast." And you were like, "Seriously? I have an idea."
Because I had just had the idea like a week before. For some reason, I don't know. I was just because I had listened to a ton of podcasts like everybody, I'm sure, during the pandemic, and I was like, man, if I did a podcast, like people do, and they'd be like, oh, if I did it, I would do this, and so I had the idea to do like, a podcast of music and talking about because here's the other thing, being for years just like this. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and say I was just sort of a raging asshole for like years before I had kids. So then people would be like, what do you like? Because I was always like, oh, fuck that sucks and blah, blah, blah. And giving my unsolicited opinion to everything, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it turns out that like, I sort of neglected to talk about the stuff I actually did like.
Right.
You know what I mean? So at some point I was like, what would be cool? I want to like actually tell people what I like and like talk about, which is funny because there's like a propaganda song about that too. Where he's like, the things I like or something. But, so I had the idea, I was like, okay, well, it'll be just
songs about.
Songs about. And then we had the whole thing was all planned. I was all like excited. Like we had talked about it. We're like, yeah, we're going to do it. And then like, let's sign up. And then like, I think we were ready to record or something even. And then I had like logged in to get the thing and like found out there was like already like another podcast with the same name or something. And I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
It didn't even occur to me.
Didn't occur to Google it. Yeah. I'm with you, dude. I went through the same thing. Like the whole process of starting, and I know this is kind of inside baseball, but the whole process of starting everything up is it's a nightmare. You're all, what is an RSS feed? You know what I mean? Like you're just tripping. You know what I mean? It's a nightmare. But I think what's cool is that like, your guys' podcast is unique because it's first of all, I don't know how you get away with playing music on your podcast and you don't get shut down. I don't know how you do that, but
we pay a guy. No, I'm just kidding.
It has to be through Spotify or something, right?
It is. We use Anchor.
That's what we use. Okay. Yeah, because they will let you put music in there, right?
Yeah, and then if you put it on Spotify, you can hear the whole thing.
Right.
If you have premium, and then if you don't, then it stays play like a snippet.
Which is fucking cool, man. I mean, because in a world that there is so much music now, you know what I mean? It's really cool to see that, you can do that. Mm-hmm. And then also the stories that go along with it and your talent for picking themes, is great too. You know what I mean? And the stories are always fun. So it's a cool, unique, because I really like ones like Song Exploder, those podcasts that like literally tear a song apart. But I'm a music guy. So my wife it's the most uninteresting thing we could possibly listen to is them ripping a fucking song apart into bits and pieces and talk about it. She's like, just kill me, dude. Please kill me.
Right.
But for me, I'm like, that's cool. But it is because music is such a wild thing. it transports all mediums. It takes you to it like, I think it literally is, it suspends time and place. Like, you know, what song, one song means to you takes someone else to a completely different time in their life. Could be the best fucking thing they've ever remembered or the worst, you know, and it translates into so many different ways. And it's cool to get a, like, you know, a theme going and a metric like that. But music for me has always been so transcendent over everything, you know?
Yeah. And I think that this is like the closest I could get to like having my own radio show, you know, it's like, I always wanted to just, you know, be in control of like playing the music at, you know, I was always trying to get like a gig at Chaos, at Chaos Radio, which is at the Evergreen State College. I was like, I want to go have my own radio show there because I knew a bunch of people who had radio shows, but it never really worked out for me. But yeah, just to be able to go like, here, I'm going to play all these songs. They're all going to be really different from lots of different kinds of music that we, you know, that we put on. That Tim tends to just always pull out something from an 80s like movie, like Karate Kid,
some old country tune. You know what I mean?
Yep.
For sure.
All the country tunes.
I was surprised. I was worried. You know, when we first started, I was like, "Oh man, our tastes are going to be too similar, and it's going to be like just like a bunch of, I don't know." Like, I guess that I just thought, I don't know. You have all this like self-doubt and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you start going, and you're like, okay, like who's gonna give a shit about my story and all that, you know, and all that stuff.
Right.
But once we started going, I think, you know, what was funny was the very first episode, the very first thing that we did when we first kind of like talked on the phone. I said something and Chooch laughed, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be cool," because her laugh is like really infectious, and like everybody comments on it, you know, and they're like, "Oh man, it's see."
Yeah, it always has been. I mean, there's a few people we have in our lives that it's fun to make them laugh, right? Like Brooke Dalton for me is my favorite. If I can get Brooke Dalton laughing, it's my favorite. Which you don't know him, but you know, he has that laugh where it's like it just makes you feel happy when you make him. You know what I mean? And you definitely have always had that. You know what I mean? And you laugh at fucked up shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, and it really helps you push your boundaries on what you can bounce off somebody. Because you know she's not going to get offended. I mean, you know, I mean, maybe there's a line.
You know?
Yeah, it is key.
I haven't found it yet. I haven't found it yet, but I've been trying to.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, occasionally, like I'll be like, "Ooh, is that going to land?" And some of the stuff where I was surprised got a big laugh. Like,
right? Yeah, it's intent though, right? It's intent. That's the fucking big difference. Is intent.
Like,
you know?
We talked, and we did talk like before. We were like, that we're not going to be like, I mean, there's some bands that I'm like, I'm not going to pick them because I think they're fucked up or whatever. But mostly that we were like, you know what, we're not going to try to deny who people are. I mean, I'm not going to put R. Kelly on there. That's just not going to happen. Because fuck that guy. Right.
Yeah.
100%. But, but like, there are like, you know, I mean, people who've been, like we talked about Angry Samoans, and they were so integral to like my punk rock learning.
We can't
not talk about Angry Samoans. We talk about them all the time. And we're like, and they're such motherfuckers, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, we're not going to deny that people were assholes or motherfuckers, but we, you know, but we're still going to play them. We're still going to talk about them because they were important. So we're not just going to be like, no, they're cool. They're fine. You know, we're not going to try to do that, but we're not going to erase them. We're not going to cancel people.
Yeah. That is the weird. It's the question though, because I mean, they've always said don't meet your heroes, right? I mean, if you really like go back, every one of these guys that were in a rock band in the 70s should be fucking probably, you know,
they'd all be sex offenders, right?
Sex offenders. I mean, you know what I mean? The Kiss, fucking everybody. But like, are you allowed to value the fucking product and not the person? Bill Cosby, right? You're like, did I watch a Cosby Show when I was growing up? Absolutely. Did I love his records? Absolutely. Is he the greatest rapist in history? Absolutely. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy, and it shouldn't
more
be
fucking pudding pops for you, man.
Right? Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, it shouldn't be. It's hard because in this world, in this culture, everyone wants to just write everyone off as soon as they do one bad thing, and I think it is the product of a young generation that doesn't understand that this shit is going to come back and bite you in the ass eventually, because you are going to be the one saying some stupid shit eventually one day, right? And now it's all online, and all this ignorant shit you've been throwing at people trying to cancel them is going to bite you in the ass later.
And it's like, I think we should value people who learn and change, or I got new information and I changed my mind.
Right.
And that's like something we should value. Like, I'm always going to be invested in somebody who's like, oh, I changed my mind because like I met somebody that, you know, was from this particular group or these particular things or whatever. Like, I learned, oh, that really hurt somebody's feelings, so I stopped saying it. You know, like whatever the fuck it is. Like, you're learning, and then you're integrating that into your growth, right? And that those mistakes were part of that growth, and so that's important. It's one thing if you're like, no, that wasn't me, or like walking back and be like, yeah, I used to be a fucking asshole, and I learned a lot since then. I've been really stressed out about whatever that was, and you know, that kind of yeah.
Craig, it's like when I was like, you know, Jawbreaker is okay. It's all right. You know, that's it. Yeah. I have to admit, it's okay.
It's much like the same moment when I admitted that I like the Smiths and I still fucking hate Morrissey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that's again, you know, we've talked a lot about.
For the record, I was right.
Well, and both.
What a motherfucker, right? We love Morrissey.
Yeah,
I hate him.
And Morrissey.
Yeah.
But we're like, you know, that he's come up quite a bit in our talks because we've been like, well, you know, maybe not on all the episodes or whatever, but it was like kind of in that thing where we both had like sort of like a relationship with the music for so long that like all those songs they're just like ingrained in my head. And like when he fucks up, and now he's, you know, clearly he's fucked up, right? But I'm like, I can't just like reach in and like, you know, pull the songs out and be like, whoo, can't let, you know, whoo, gotta get rid of that.
Of course
like,
not.
I still hear that stuff, you know? And,
but that's the magical thing about music, man. It fucking takes you, you know what I mean? I just like, it is so important because it does take you to a place and a time and a meaning to you. And you can't devalue that because the guy's a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we all know that fucking Axl Rose is a turd. But come on, man. You know what I mean? Like,
but when you hear, but when you hear Appetite for Destruction, it's like a time machine. It takes you to that spot. And somebody said that, and I can't remember who it is, but it was like a quote, and they were saying that very thing, and they were talking about playing. They were talking about performing their own songs, and they were it was some singer songwriter or something. When he was like, you know, when I play an old song, you know, and the people are having. The people in the crowd are having that moment where they're like, oh, he's playing my favorite song, or like, you know, and then it takes them back in that like time machine moment, and like that's super powerful. I mean, you know, so
yeah,
there you are.
It is powerful. You know what I mean? It is I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, it's one of the only things that truly translates everything. You know what I mean? It goes across, and it's maybe because of music, it's vibration, and I don't, you know what I mean? There's a lot of, we could get real spacey about why, you know what I mean? But it's the only fucking thing. I mean, maybe watching a movie, maybe watching all these things that might do the same, but it's nothing that's going to be like a fucking great song. You know what I mean? Right. Or a song that you hear and it makes your skin crawl still. You know what I mean? I hate it. You know, and being, you know, I was the negative dude for a long time. I fucking hated everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you do have children, you realize that, okay, this is all worthless. You know what I mean? My kids don't give a shit how fucking smart I am about music. You know what I mean? And
you cease to be cool. Sorry.
I'm the most. I spend half of my time trying to convince my kids I'm fucking still cool. You know what I mean? It's like,
my daughter will not let me play my own. She's like, I don't like this. Turn it off. I want to hear pop music.
Bro, but do you understand how important Doolittle was for the culture back then?
Right.
Like, she's all, have you heard this song about Five Nights at Freddy on YouTube? And you're like, you know, it's brutal, dude. You know?
It's pretty. How old's your kid? Wait, are you in the dad brains?
Yes. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. I had my dad brains moment this morning when both of my kids woke up at 4 a.m. And I'm like, I have one who's my daughter's 5 and my son is just about to turn 2.
Ooh, you're in the muck right now, dude. Oof.
Yeah. So I'm like, I was just telling somebody earlier, I was like, I was having a great day, and they woke me up super early, and yet I still, I did a bunch of stuff today that, I was all riding high, and I was like, dude, I have this like Joker energy right now. Like I'm just, that manic, like
manic
like,
sleep.
Everything's fine, and there's like a teardrop flying down your face. It's good. We're all good. Everything's good. I love my life. I'm not going to kill everyone.
My last year and a half has pretty much been that.
Yeah, that 5-year-old, it's brutal. I mean, I don't want to. We could talk all day about kids, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me, hands down. It's also the worst thing that's ever happened to me. You know what I mean? Every part of yourself that you thought was fucking important is gone, and it's fine. You know what I mean? But they fucking, and not only that, they wake up at 4 a.m. and they're like, let's go. Like they wake up with tweaker energy at 4 a.m. Like they've been up all night waiting for your ass, and they can't wait a second more.
That's exactly what I was like. Hey, it's still night time, you guys. It's dark outside, and they're like, woo. I was like,
oh boy.
Oh, we just did a fucking rail, buddy. We're ready to party.
Then right before I had to take her to school because she's in kindergarten, and I'm like, okay, it's time to leave. We're lucky we can walk to the school. So I'm like, okay, you got to get up, got to walk to school, and she's like, I'm too tired now. Like, of course, right then I'm like, what? And she's like, no, I just want to lay down. And I'm like, get up. Like, so yeah,
it's insane.
It's a ride.
But they do teach you what's important. You know what I mean? And it's not your music, your opinions on music. You know what I mean? At all. Like,
no,
it's so funny how fast you have to shed everything. You know what I mean? Like, and leave it in the dust. And now my kids now are at the 13, 11, and then we have a 2-year-old, right? So it's starting to, I mean, it goes in these waves like that for
what a gap there.
You're
surprised.
We were talking about it right before you got on. Holy shit. We were super surprised. But that 5 till 5, 6 years old is just pure damage control. That's all you're doing. It's like you're just trying to keep these motherfuckers alive. They start to come into their own about 6 to 9, and they're super fun. You have these cool conversations, and then about 9, 10, they just everything goes black and white, and they're like, it's what I've seen now. It's like I've said it before. It's like kids made the best Nazis in the World War II because everything was black and white. It's either an absolute injustice or they're 100% for it. Like there's a reason all the kids were ratting their parents out in World War II, like because they do not see gray anymore, like. And it just
I can see that.
Dude. And you're like, what the fuck, man? And then add the hormones, But they're starting to be cool. Like they're super fun now. You know what I mean? And my kids now are listening to music. Like they'll come down and they're playing something. I'm like, how did you hear that? You know what I mean? It'll be something like the Pixies or something else that like Duran Duran or like something weird. You're like, and they're like, oh yeah, I found it on YouTube. And I'm like, okay, like. But it's also right after the worst song I've ever heard about a video game that has more downloads than the Beatles. And you're like, okay, well, I don't know shit. Apparently, I don't know anything. Right. I don't know anything about music. Apparently,
We had a teenager who was staying with us for a little while, and he was like, he was staying with us for the summer. Ray is good friends with his parents, and so he came down and get away from his parents. The pandemic was so awful for teenagers when they, not going to school and seeing their friends. Awful. So he came down. He was kicking with us, and he was wearing a Misfit shirt. He came out of his room with a Misfit shirt. I was also wearing a Misfit shirt, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Whoa.
He was like, "I like your shirt." I'm like, "Okay, I had this before you."
Oh my god.
You're all fucking poser.
But then
Chooch, I still dress like a teenager.
And then he just listened to like a ton of he was like found this My Chemical Romance thing, and I was like, what the fuck is
hold on.
Why is it so loud? I was like vacillating between being the things that I liked as a teenager and being like, this is awful.
Well, it's just crazy because kids don't give a fuck about genre anymore.
Yeah.
They don't care, dude. They do not care. Like, I built my whole entire identity off of one genre of music.
Right.
And now I feel embarrassed because my kids allow themselves to love everything, dude. Like, You know, and
we talked about that on the podcast
like,
before.
dude.
Where, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just was saying. I mean, it's so funny to me because when you see it now, like they don't give a fuck. They don't care if they like the punk song. If they like Nirvana, they like Nirvana. But also, they don't understand that Nirvana's awesome and 311 fucking sucks. You know what I mean? Right. Like they don't. But if they hear a 311 song that they like, they're like, I like that. I'm all, you're not allowed to do that, dude.
Right.
Like, you're not allowed to do that. You can't tell me you like Nirvana and 311 at the same fucking time. You know, and they're like,
you're like, why not? You're like incongruent.
We talked about that on an episode where we talked about that very thing, where it was like you had to sort of like
choose a side,
choose an identity, you know, commit to the identity. And especially because we like part of it was like you couldn't even afford all the music. You were like, okay, well, I like punk now, so I'm, you know, the next, you know, 3 albums I buy with my lawn mowing money are going to be punk records or whatever.
Right.
As opposed to now, you could just be like, oh, I'm going to try that out for try that out. And on one hand, and I've said this before too, I'm like, I am envious of them because they have all that access to stuff, and especially stuff that like when we were younger didn't even really exist, because it was like, you know, in the world of the sort of like obscure reissue now and everything, where it's like, oh yeah, like it doesn't cost anything to like have some obscure reissue like available online somewhere or whatever, and or just like the reach of it. Like if, you know, when we were younger, it's like if it wasn't in your physical store, you didn't know about it. Like,
if somebody didn't tour in your town, you couldn't buy their record.
Right. Yeah. Or if you didn't, like, you know, you look at the liner notes and whatever T-shirt that band's wearing, you're like, is that slant? You know what I mean? You're like, what the fuck is that? And then
I'll look that up.
Yeah, totally, man. You know, and you try it out. Like, you know, and I think I'm a little younger than you guys. You know, I'm 39, but not, you know, but I had internet.
Okay,
like,
wait a second.
I mean, I had internet when I was like 18. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was still the time where you had to really do the fucking work. You know what I mean? Like, whereas the generation right after me had it since they were fucking 12, you know, and
but even at 18, even with like Napster or Green, what the fuck?
LimeWire, right?
LimeWire, Green. Like whatever, like you still had to know what you were looking for, because you were like searching through just like data. Yeah, there wasn't anything that was like, you know, really organized in any way. I remember going to Mike Fairchild's house all the time and just like downloading like a bunch of like live versions of like John Frusciante covers, and then like, you know, just like picking random stuff to like just download. Oh, I wonder what they have of this guy, you know, and just like trying to like.
It was such a cool time of discovery. I remember literally it took me 12 hours to download Bombs Over Baghdad by the Outkast. And I was so excited when I got it. That's awesome. And I lived like around the corner from Salzer's. You know what I mean? I remember it was like 12 fucking hours, and I listened to that song 600 times, you know? Like it was, because it was like, and I was like, it only took 12 hours, you know what I mean?
I know. My God.
Like
we talked about
late 90s, you know?
We had a friend of mine, we were working at Kinko's, and this was like the 2001.
And you worked there?
Oh
boy, okay.
And for a while. And then he had all the computers. It was like the night shift, and he had all the computers working LimeWire. So they were like all downloading at the same time, you know, just to get like 6 songs, like, you know, or whatever. And you're like, oh.
Just to tell Metallica to go fuck themselves, you know what I mean? And they were right. They were fucking right. They were right the whole time.
Files that were like totally mislabeled. You know, you'd be like, he's like, oh, I got this song by this band, blah, blah. And you're like, that's not who that is. What are you talking about? That's like, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so much mislabeling for sure.
Totally, man. Yeah, I wonder how much of it was done on purpose too. You know what I mean? Because there's like SoundCloud rappers that got famous doing shit like that. Like they would label it like New Kanye, and fucking millions of people downloaded, and it was like Da Baby or whatever the fuck.
That is,
you know what I mean? I was like, ooh, that's really smart, dude. You know?
I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna do next.
I don't. I just said names. I don't know.
I think that is a real person.
That is a rapper.
It is. I think it is. Da Baby.
Baby's a rapper.
Yeah. But so you worked at Kinko's. Were you in a band when you worked at Kinko's?
I was a solo. Yeah, solo.
Did you know how to? I mean, obviously you worked there, you got free copies. But did you know the the muck that other bands were running on your store, making flyers back in the day.
Oh, you mean the little
with the key cards?
The little magnet punch where you have the little pin in the back. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what we would do is we'd go in there and spend, I don't know, 6 hours making our whole entire record cover, and we would do about 500 copies.
Spend $2.
We would wait till you weren't looking, and we'd slam it on the ground until it went to like a normal count. That was like something you could use, and you'd walk up and you're all 35 copies. They're all.
I mean, it was in Olympia, so you know, of course, we were hip to all that. I mean, it was like, you kind of were just like, yeah, dude, I get it. I don't care. Like, you know, you were like, whatever. But some people that I worked with ended up getting fired for. They were like, I don't know, they were going to town, like, you know, letting all their friends who had bands like make color posters, and I mean, this was 20 years ago. I can't even believe that it's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. And I was showing, I mean, Tim and I were talking about this on the last episode that we recorded, which I haven't finished editing yet, but when that comes out, was like, because I put a Dick Circus song on it.
Oh,
and then I was like showing him, I'm like, here's all the little shit that's inside, you know, the 7-inch that's like, right to Martin Jimenez, blah 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 blah, Oxnard, California, call for scene information, you know, like
that's so awesome.
So cute. And
Martin just moved back to Ventura.
Did he really?
Yeah, well, he's in Thousand Oaks, but yeah, he just moved back.
Oh wow,
that's a trip, dude.
We should try to write him at that address on there.
Yeah,
be like, Dick Circus fan club. He
probably still goes to his parents' house, dude.
Right, yeah, probably does.
Yeah.
But it's like that kind of shit, you know, and everything is like collage zine style and copied again, and kind of, you know.
I'm surprised Kinko's made it. You know what I mean? through like the chaos that we fucking put him through.
Oh,
you know.
I know. Well, it must have been crazy, because if you think about the markup on a copy must have been ridiculous, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, it was like the coffee of, you know, the 90s.
Right.
I mean, I remember when they had man, when I first started using Kinko's was like probably like 95, and they still had the machine that had the red ink and the blue ink. So you had 3 color choices, and you could make stickers. I don't know if you remember these like shitty paper stickers that everybody used to make.
So many paper stickers.
Yep. You get them wet one time and it just wipes off.
Yeah, totally. It was like, oh, but it's cool. We're from California. No big deal. It never rains. So, you know, but yeah, man, Is that
where you grew up in California? You're not from Washington?
No, I'm from Northern California. I'm from the Bay Area.
Okay. Nice.
So we have a lot of, that's another thing me and Chooch like to, you know, go back and forth on about, you know, whether or not the Bay or the Southern California is the best. And
well,
I think we both know the answer there.
It's Southern.
Well, I think the answer is we both left, so I don't know if we know anything.
Yeah.
At this point, I almost would say Southern California is probably winning right now, but you know, in this current day and age.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of homeless guys taking shits up there in San Francisco right now. Man.
Oh, right here we got we got quite a few roofs right over here. So
yeah. But also, if you go to LA, they're not playing down there either. So. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like there's really no.
It's a problem everywhere. No,
it's a problem everywhere. Oh, they have an app in San Francisco for homeless shits on the ground. Did you know that?
Where you just take it and log it?
No.
Yeah, literally. It's like a geocache for homeless shit.
I'm not
insane.
I'm not surprised. Pokemon Go.
Who's doing that?
Fucking Elon Musk. I don't know, dude.
Who's making this shit?
It's probably the Facebook guy. I bet he fucking did.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
like, why didn't they put that into like making it into like public toilets or something? Like, hey, this is where you can find a toilet. No,
who knows, man? Just geocache where a turd is, so you don't step in it.
It's just so.
It's the world we live in, dude.
Hey,
I mean,
man.
Like, how many years do you think we have left? I mean, really, come on.
I don't know. I've always been a child of the apocalypse, dude. I've been counting on it since fucking day one.
I can't really go there now that I'm a parent. Like,
I know.
Totally like,
it sucks having to have hope. It's a fucking real shit show, dude.
I remember. I
don't like it.
The night after Trump won the election, and it was the next day, and everybody was just like, "Oh man, what the fuck?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I had to get up and change diaper. I didn't. Yeah, I was like, whatever, dude. This same shit. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah. You know, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, you're just like cool, dude. A next dickhead in office, great. Let's fucking do it. You know what I mean? It's there's
like,
never going to be a good option for us.
It was kind of like that moment where you're like, I'm kind of glad right now that I have this distraction because everyone's getting so worked up, and I'm like, I really just have to keep this child alive. So I got like, bigger things on my plate than
Yeah, but you do have to switch your whole gears. You know what I mean? It's like I said, I've been ready for the end for most of my life. I was raised like that. You know what I mean? Like, prepare. Well, the pandemic, it is coming. Too, you know what I mean? And
this pandemic, I mean, we could have never seen. I mean, let's take this in a bad direction, but like, this pandemic thing, we could have never imagined. I've watched lots of apocalypse movies. I've seen all kinds of shit. I never thought in my head like, oh, dude, it'll be some fucking virus thing. I was thinking like, oh, zombies or some kind of whatever.
Where it's gonna bore us. It's gonna bore us so deeply that we just hate everyone.
Yeah, right.
We start arguing about the best fucking pavement record again.
Where we're like, hey, let's start some podcasts, dude. I know what the world needs now.
Wowie zowie.
But it's weird because people did one of two things in the pandemic. They either shut down and it amplified every one of their anxieties to where now they're fucking like a chihuahua in the rain. You know what I mean? Like, or if you're like me, it got me fired up, dude. I was like all fired up, dude. Like I restarted the podcast, fucking band's going again. We're doing all these things. Cool. You know what I mean? Like that, it's weird because I grew up in chaos. And chaos is where I thrive, dude. Like I can't write a record unless I'm having a kid, changing my job, and something else. You know what I mean? Like major life-changing shit causes me to move, which is it for me. And as much as I don't want to see anyone die or fucking lose their life or whatever, but for me, it gets me moving, dude. Like, and I had a guy ask me, he's all, so what happened? Like, how did you feel when the pandemic hit? And I was all, I got pumped. Like, I was like, let's go, dude. This is it. Like, we're fucking ready, you know? Like, not that I want to fight for my life, but it's just, that is an opportunity to move. You know what I mean? For me.
Yeah.
I
really get that. Cause you need these like external factors to be like, hey, apathy, like wake up and do something different. You know, I mean, like I started just like, just listening to a lot of music again, like just getting hobbies, fucking doing projects, calling up Tim and being like, hey, let's do this thing. Yeah. Because it's lonely, and now is the time to just do stuff. I mean, especially the stuff that you always kind of wanted to do but didn't, and this has always been the kind of stuff. And Tim just, finally put out your solo EP just the other day, or did you just drop it?
It's coming out on Friday.
Awesome. So it'll be out when this podcast comes out. Awesome.
Yeah, that's rad.
What's it called? Give us the details.
Well, the EP that's coming out is called Half of the Time, and it's a solo record. And it is basically, I was just going to say, to backtrack a little bit before I talk about that, Chooch asking me to do the podcast really brought me out of kind of a funk, because the pandemic put me into like this strange place of like survival kind of mode, where I was like, okay, got to look out for my family, like blah, blah, blah. But then I got divorced and had to move. And I was in this like kind of weird isolated limbo spot where I was just kind of just with my kids all the time. And so the podcast really kind of helped bring me out of that in a lot of ways, where I was like starting to communicate with another adult. Okay, now we're talking about music, the thing that I love. Okay, boom. Now let's move. Yeah. And I've been working on, I play in other bands and do stuff, but because of the logistics, I had to record it all myself. So I was just recording at home and stuff. So anyway, I finally kind of, after a lot of work, I finished this record. It's just an EP, but it's called Half of the Time. It's coming out on October 1st. Nice. And it is, and I dropped the video this morning, actually.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, the video.
Yeah, and the video for The Rain in the Rings, the first, I guess.
I like that song.
Single.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it landed really well. And I thought it was like one of those things where, like I said, I was tired this morning because my kids woke up super early, and I sort of was like in between getting them to school and doing the thing. I was like, okay, post, like, you know, put the thing up, and then I was like, okay, let's go to school. And then when I came back, had a lot of nice comments and lots of views. So I was like, cool,
that's great,
awesome.
man.
So
yeah, I mean, because that is the difference. It's like that's what creatives do. Like when they when shit goes bad, they figure out how to channel that fucking anxiety, that energy, that longing, fear, and terror, you know what I mean, that runs behind us at all times, into something positive, right? And I mean, and it is the podcast thing is tedious and it is a pain in the ass, and I know from experience, you know, because I literally do all of it by myself. But it is fucking rad because when people are creative, they figure out a way to make it work, right? And they figure out how to channel that shit into something really positive, right? I mean, it's great, and your kids need to see that. You know, your kids need to see a happy adult, right? They need to see an adult in their lives that's not miserably with their head down working and knowing that they're only working for them. You know, they need to see that you can still do the adult things and follow your passion and be happy doing what you're doing. You know, it's super important for them.
Yeah,
and
for them to see creativity.
100%.
A huge thing for me. Like, I definitely, that's kind of like what I'm trying to just kind of keep going. And a lot of people have made those comments too, like, you know, I've been doing this, whatever this is, you know, playing in bands or doing my solo thing. We're like almost 25 years now.
Right.
So it's like, you know, a lot of people are, wow, you're still going. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna stop, because this is the thing that like channels all the bad stuff into the good stuff. You know what I mean?
If I stop, something's stopping, and it's probably gonna be me, my life.
Right.
Yeah, and that is it. Like for me, it changed especially when I had kids. Like I actively chose to walk away from my band that was either had to shit or get off the pot. Like we were going to be on tour 9 months out of the year, fucking grinding and coming home with very little money with 2 kids to feed. You know what I mean? Or I do what I have to do because I'm a father, and that's what I chose, and I don't regret 100%. That at all. But that almost, like, after a couple of years away, it gave me the freedom to really actually enjoy playing music again. Like, and that was, you know, I realized I missed it because it was becoming a bit of a machine, right? We're doing this self-serving prophecy, you know, because it's not that we don't play the music that's going to make it. I mean, it was fucking gnarly metal, right? But, you know, it was fun and it was great what we did. But, you know, I really enjoy playing music again. You know what I mean? And that was so nice, you know, especially I took like literally 5-6 years to get my fucking career in order and all this shit.
Yeah.
And then when I came back to it, I was like, dude, I can play like and have a great time and know that I don't have any desire to go on a 6-week tour ever again. I don't have fucking 80, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even have a desire to put out a record, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like record a few bangers a year, put some videos out, have fun, and play some shows. Like, and everyone in my band now is exactly the same. They're all dads almost, you know? And the dad brains as well. Same shit, right? So,
right.
Is that
Tongue?
What's that?
Craig, is it Tongue?
Yeah,
your
Tongue.
band? Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I just listened to a podcast this morning. I listened to a lot of podcasts about creativity and songwriting and all that stuff. And this one that I listen to quite regularly is called Super Duty Tough Work. It's by Blueprint.
I like
MC.
that name, dude.
It's great. It's all about, it's primarily a hip hop podcast, but it, you know, talks all of these things apply to whatever genre of music you do, or art or whatever. And their episode, the most recent one, is the episode about how it's okay to have a job, like about how there's been this sort of misconception for however many years that you're not
you have to make a choice.
You're not like making worthy art if you have a day job or something like that, which is just bullshit. Because like you just said, like, you know, we're not going to make the kind of music that's going to make it. I mean, like, what even is the music that's going to make it? It's like, it's such a weird crapshoot and machine thing. It's like, just regular music, if it's good, is still has all the power. You know what I mean? Totally. It could be just some guy sitting on the corner playing a guitar, you know what I mean? Or some teenage punk band in a garage somewhere that you're like, oh shit, that stuff is I just got chills thinking about it right now. Just like, you know, it's that stuff all like is equally valid, you know what I mean? And I think that, like, you know, all I've always worked jobs and stuff like that. I've never been like a full-time artist. I'm going back to school right now. So like, I'm not, I'm in a transitional period or whatever. Never made money really off of, enough to live or whatever off of music. But I've been playing music and putting out records for 25 years.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like there's some people who are just going to keep doing it. You know what I mean?
Well, and that whole mentality is an old model, the making it mentality, right? Because I mean, you see with what it is now, you don't need a record label. You don't need a fucking any of that anymore. I mean,
and
I just talked
kids will listen to 311. So
that's obviously they have no fucking standards anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
But even like I don't know if you guys are familiar with Cola Boy, who's a kid from fucking Oxnard. I've known him. I had him on the podcast a while ago, and this fucking kid was a hardcore kid that has been making music in his garage for a minute, and he just fucking played Coachella. You know what I mean? Like,
wow,
it's awesome. Incredible what the guy's on MGMT management. You know what I mean? He tours with MGMT, and he's a single fucking kid making music in his fucking room. You know what I mean? And so that old model is dead. You know what I mean? You can fucking making it now is a different world. You know what I mean? What you can do,
and that's the new punk too, which is funny because I think I was listening to a interview with Larry Livermore from Lookout Records, and he was talking about some teenager. He was talking to some teenager and he was like, I was talking about punk, and the kid was like, this is like dinosaur music. Like this is like music for old guys. Yeah. And he was like, and I was like, yeah, it is. And what's the music that teenagers are excited about that's like the new thing? And it's there's so much what's the word I'm looking for? There's the technology has created so many sonic
Steve Aoki.
Right. Now I'm starting to get tired.
Yeah.
So many opportunities to make things, just by yourself. Like, you can mash things together and make, all kinds of amazing sounds with just a box or even a computer.
Totally, man. There's bands that are like Ghost Main is a good one, like Death Grips. These fucking bands that are like heavily noise punk influence, but they're also hip hop. I went to a Death Main show because this band called Horror was playing, which are like 3 black kids that make fucking crazy, deep, gnarly hip hop, but also play punk songs in the middle of the set. And I was shocked. I mean, it was the real like thing that made me realize, like, I'm walking through the line up to the Ventura Theater, and it's a hip hop show that's got members of Iron Reagan and Municipal Waste in it.
Oh, wow.
But also the kids are wearing straight death metal t-shirts, and it's hip hop. You know what I mean? And I went like, I'm
Genre's
old. Like,
dead.
genres are dead, man. And it was fucking great, dude, because the sonic and the sub bass and with the technology, you can get some wild fucking sounds. And they're incorporating all genres of music into it, and they don't give a fuck 2 ways about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's incredible,
Well,
and it's
isn't
great.
That punk? I mean,
is it that? Me and John C had a huge argument, like, about it, like, because he's so nostalgic. John C is the drummer for Dad Brains, one of my best friends. I was like, hey, this is the punkest shit you've ever seen. He's all,
it is because
he was like,
have you ever heard? Oh, go ahead.
No, he was just like, we had this whole debate. I said, dude, this is punk. This is the new punk. Like,
it may not sound punk, but it is.
It is. It has the vibe,
right? Yeah,
because it's 5 years before anything like that hit the fucking, you know what I mean? The hardcore and punk scene has always been.
Fuck, and we're gonna do what we do.
And it was amazing, you know what I mean? And I was like, this is the punkest thing you've been to in 20 years. He's like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, buddy, you're fucking old. That's what's happening,
Well, he is in Stalag 13 now. Tim, that's what I was talking about too.
Yeah, he's a singer for Stalag 13. Awesome. So and I love him,
He's retro.
Yeah, he's the ultimate dude.
Yeah.
But I know that you guys are music files. I did have a couple things that I wanted to throw at you to see, what your answers are, right? So some, not trivia really, just kind of opinions about stuff, right? So I was thinking like we'll start with an easy one, like
Jets to Brazil.
Yeah. So it can go either way, right? Like something simple. We'll start simple. Like what would be the best / worst song for sex?
Best slash worst song.
Like something you could love to hear or also hate to hear, or either or. What's your best and your worst?
Am I having the sex, or is it for someone else?
No, for you. Yeah. I mean, unless you're into some other shit we're not aware of.
If it's for me, I think that any of my own songs. So if my own song came on while I was having sex, that would be fucking awful.
Yeah, totally. That's a good one. What about you, Chooch? You got one?
That is really good. Well, I
feel like you can also say my song.
My song. Anything by Tim. Oh, sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
We made you a mix.
Yeah, so it could either be a good song or a terrible song. You know what I mean? Or one could count for both. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Rancid Out Come the Wolves, because that happened.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, I got you. I'm gonna go. I asked Rosie, which I'll see if she wants to come say hi after the thing. But
yeah.
I asked her because Rosie, my wife, is incredible at this game as well. At Salzer's, we met at Salzer's Records. She would build whole entire days off of a theme, right? Like with playlists.
Nice.
You know, she was very good, like Chooch is. You know what I mean? Rosie Rent, obviously best. You know, either Zeppelin or Portishead, and we both adamantly agreed that the worst band you could listen to while you're fucking is Kimya Dawson.
Oh,
burn.
She's from here.
I know. That's why we picked it. From. I know, and I really like her songs, but I'm not fucking to those songs, dude. It's the worst.
It's.
That's a mood killer.
I feel like there could be. I feel like there could really be a lot. Like we could probably, you know, find a few, because I feel like there are like.
All right, do you have a?
That's fine.
Let's see.
But Morrissey, I think, definitely is on there. That's a no.
That's a click killer, dude.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, my spouse is not okay does not like Morrissey at all.
Thank God. Thank God.
Found out the hard way.
That's a big no.
That's a big no, Morrissey. All right. What about best / worst funeral song?
Best
or best or worst. You know what I mean? I'll go with the best and a worst too.
Okay.
They might hold this. Is this going to be online forever? I don't want to answer the wrong thing.
Hey man, whatever
you
want.
On that one he said on one podcast that he wanted to hear that.
So the first thing that comes to my mind for like worst is like, oh my God, do you remember when at Buck's funeral? When
I didn't go, I wasn't. We were on tour. Yeah.
Well, they needed some CDs, so we gave them a couple. And then they just played the Kenji album over and over and over and over and over again. And that was fucking terrible.
Oh,
Mike Gleason was so bummed. Like, why is this happening?
That's brutal, dude.
It was so brutal.
That's brutal.
So
yeah.
That's
and nothing against Kenji, the band. They're amazing.
No.
Not great funeral music.
Like, that's not really what it's not in the mood. It's not the zone. And it's also kept repeating.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was all
That's
fucked
bad.
up.
That's bad.
But I'm also thinking like any of those songs that are like those story songs to play at a funeral, I think would be pretty bad. Like Leader of the Pack. Tell Laura I love her.
I guess it would just
Dead Man's Curve.
Yeah. Any Oingo Boingo song.
Dead Man's Party.
Oingo Boingo song would not
be good.
Or I thought of mine. Wham! Wake Me Up.
I love that.
Before you go.
I also now I'm thinking that those are also the best. Like,
that's what I'm saying. That could be best. It could be worse. You know what I mean? You never
Walking
know.
on Sunshine.
Walking on Sunshine. That's a good one, dude. That's a really good one.
I can't.
All right. So here's one. Best worst song to take a shit to.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, Steady Mobbin', which we discovered recently, is actually one of the only songs that actually discusses taking a shit.
Right.
So it is on, but that would be on theme for like a good one.
That's a good one.
Steady Mobbin'.
Yeah.
Actually, my friend Nero, he sent me a message and he was like, before he was listening to the podcast, but before he heard that section, was like, hey, do you know any other song? That song talks about taking a shit. And I was like, I said that, right? And he's like, oh, dude, I just heard it. Like, it was,
dude. I've often been referred to as the white Ice Cube. So it's like,
oh, really?
Just kidding.
Well,
no one's ever said that, but I'd like to be referred to that from now on.
Okay.
We'll work. We'll see if we can get that going.
I was just going to say, can you, as a parent, can you comment on this while on the subject of shitting? Having to take a shit while your kids are doing like the speed shit.
Staring
like, I gotta take a shit. Or the like, I gotta take a shit really bad. My kid's sort of in a precarious position right now. They're not quite like safe, but I gotta have this has to happen now.
Yeah.
Like kind of thing. Like,
what do I do?
Or
I lock the door and I'll let the world burn. I don't fucking care. I don't care who dies. Nice. That's the only time I get to myself. And I want to enjoy every fucking second of it, dude. This is an old father type of thing, right? When you're new, you're like, oh my God. You're like, they're like coming in. You're like, now I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care if the house, it'll still be on fire when I get out done taking a shit. I don't care. I'm done. Yep. I got hands coming under the door like it's fucking, you know what I mean? The knives and fucking shit's flying around. I don't give a fuck, dude. That door's done. I'm locked. It's over, right?
That's hilarious.
I mean, but I'm also an asshole. So there you go. You know,
I'm also thinking Drop by Farside. That's also a good one.
I had Rosie picked Free Fallin', Tom Petty.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, these are good songs to take shit.
Or either one, you know. Like I thought of Staying Alive, depending on the shit, right? Staying Alive would be that could either be a victory or a cry for help.
I think another Tom Petty song, The Waiting is the Hardest Part, could also be a nice one.
There you go.
For a little constipation.
I think we need to talk about some prune juice or something for you guys. It sounds like there needs to be a little bit more, you guys need to expedite the process.
We need
a little more fiber.
Yeah. I don't spend a lot of time in the bathroom that way.
Wow.
I mean,
congratulations.
Can we talk
it's my favorite place to be.
Plant-based diet.
I go in there. I got my fucking coffee. I got the tushy. I'm fucking
the newspaper.
I'm brushing my teeth like that Dave Attell joke. I'm involving all the holes while I'm in there, dude.
Right.
I'm fucking doing the Lord's work in there. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, love Dave Attell.
Yeah.
I got to see him perform a few years ago, not too long ago.
Oh, I saw him and Lewis Black and Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, wow.
It was in the early 2000s. It was
incredible. What? I feel like I remember that, and a bunch of people went.
Santa Barbara.
Wow.
It was amazing.
I saw Dave Attell in a fucking mall, a comedy store, like a comedy bar in a mall in Redmond. It was like the worst place you could see it. And he was just like, what am I doing here?
But he still kills it, dude.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
God, he kills it. All right, so we got next. Let's see. Did you give yours? Or do you have one?
I was just going to say any like fast punk song. I don't want to hear if I'm trying to take a shit. Like I want to hear that like that. You know that beat.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's like
All right, so this is a basic one, but best and worst breakup songs or music.
We haven't even done that theme yet, but we're working on it.
Right.
I'll give you mine. I don't want it.
Right.
I mean, Elliott Smith. Obviously, you don't want to hear that, dude.
Right.
Or Bohemian Rhapsody.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh, man.
Those are two that I don't want to hear. I Will Survive, maybe. That's a bad one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a good one, maybe. Yeah.
I was trying to think of like a song where the woman is like, I got a new dude now or something like.
Totally.
I don't, you know, that would be kind of.
Are you a fan of Amigo the Devil? Have you heard that?
I've never heard
the band.
That.
It's one guy, but it's a group called Amigo the Devil. Oh, you should look at it. It's so good, man. He has a song called Husband, and it is incredible. It's the best fucking. He's like a punk kid, like a hardcore kid, but his albums are so fucking dark. They're all about serial killers. It's brutal. It's like country, but it's gnarly, dude. But the song
I will
Husband
check that out.
Would be my breakup song if that's what happened, for sure, dude.
Man.
So for me, best ones, they're all. I mean, I'm going Jawbreaker since we were talking about that before. Ashtray Monument, Seafoam Green. I tried to drink you off my mind. I just stopped drinking. No, I can't remember how it goes, but yeah. So I'm thinking those are some good solid choices for me.
Man, I'm trying. Oh man,
thinking about a worst one.
Yeah, there's a lot when you really start thinking about it. Like, there's a million things you wouldn't want to hear. You know.
Yeah. Right.
Like I said, for me, Elliott Smith, there's no way, dude. I'd probably kill myself.
I did make a mix of breakup songs for somebody that I broke up with.
Ooh, damn.
I did.
You're ruthless.
Can we talk about LA Woman? Like, where
yeah, there you go.
Don't you love her as she's walking out the door?
That's right.
Yeah, I had a friend who put that on a mix, or not put it on a mix for who we talked about this on the podcast once, but I had a friend, this was years ago, who put the tape in, pressed play on Love Her Madly, and walked out the door to have the song on.
Awesome.
She was mad.
She made her own theme song. She was like, she
was pissed.
Yep. Just like take this job and shove it and quit your job.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, which I played on my last day at Wild Planet. You know what I mean? Which I actually love that place, but you know, I was done, so I figured I might as well play that song on the fucking. You know, when I quit, Wild Planet was a wild little record store that was down here. Head shop.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like wondering if it was like a pet store or
no, it was an old fucking head shop. Like,
oh, okay,
yeah, it was crazy. It was pretty fun.
It was.
All right, so moving on, let's see. What band do you not want to hear in traffic?
Oh God, that's a good one. Fuck. These are the questions I wanted prep. I wanted prep on these questions.
Sorry, man. I just thought of them. Like, I literally wrote them down like 5 minutes before we got on.
I mean,
I'm gonna go Rush. Traffic. Anything from Rush. I don't want to hear Rush at all in traffic.
No, I feel like but I also think anything fast, like Refused, you don't want that in traffic because you're like, I'm trying to go. Like anything that's really
makes you want to go.
Exactly.
But I also think the same about slow and like droney is that like it's like almost too tiring because you're like, they're dozing off here.
Yeah, like if a Journey song comes on in traffic, I'm fucking hitting something, dude. No way. You know?
Well, it's like weird because now we also have like all these devices and ways to play whatever music we want. So, we used to be kind of beholden to our car radios or what, the 5 tapes we had in a car. But now it's like, oh, dude, I have a phone. If I'm in traffic, I can just put on a podcast. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like,
yeah, I mean, honestly, that's probably what I would do. But also,
course.
I think hip hop is probably where I would go if I'm in traffic.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make you want to speed, but it's like interesting enough to like, not make you zone out or be bored,
Right.
The problem I have with that for me is that like I'll start rapping along and then I start gesticulating and I'm like doing the thing and the next thing I'm looking over at the guy.
Some guy's like,
and then a black guy walks by and you just roll up your windows and you lock your door.
Yeah. I'm like, oh no. Michael Bolton.
Remember that Office Space?
I love Office Space.
So good.
Love Office Space.
All right. So I wanted to also know, obviously we're all old we like our music of our time. What is there a newer band that you guys like that you think, what I mean? That you're like, fuck yeah, dude, this is new music that's awesome. Like
I will shout out the newest album, and it's not heavy, so I don't know if this is gonna land. Okay, so this is
I like everything.
The first music that I saw since the pandemic began. I went to a show. It was outside at we have this little bakery that has a garden outside, and this dude was playing, and he's been playing for a long time. He's been just like us, making music for years and years and years. His name is Peter David Conley. He performs under the name The Mona Reels, and his new album is called Without Love, and it's fantastic. It's so good. and it's just like sort of piano based singer-songwriter music. That's the kind of shit that I like. So but oh, very, very good. And so
is there any like new radio kind of big bands that you fuck with? Like me, Billie Eilish and Lorde. I'll fuck with that all day. You know what I mean?
I haven't heard any. I haven't actually heard any of that stuff. What's weird is like I don't know how to find those things. I guess Spotify would like recommend them to me or whatever. But since I listen to so much old music, it always just recommends old shit. So I'm always hearing it. I'm always just hearing like new old shit. So I'm like, oh shit! Like I said before, like we didn't have like I'd heard of the Nuns when I was younger. But I didn't have the access to the Nuns album, for example. I'd be like, and now it's I can find it streaming or whatever. So it's like that's cool. Yeah. So shit like that. I'm trying to think. I just was listening to, I listened to a lot of like 70s punk and stuff like that, like the Kids, just random. I don't know. I listen to all kinds of weird stuff.
So the answer is no, old guy. You don't listen to anything.
Yeah.
All right, got it. Yeah.
No. I do. I
know. Let's hear it, Chooch.
Yeah, I do. I have a few. And one is TV Party, which is our friend's band. I love them.
There you go. Nice.
I've really been enjoying the stuff that they're putting out.
They're very good.
And Brooke turned me on to this band called Moaning. The album's Uneasy Laughter.
Oh, okay.
It's great.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I really like that. And then I also like this band called Dead. DEHD.
Oh,
and they're kind of like a goth Jesus and Mary Chain kind of X band. Like it's very, again, it's like new music now. It's kind of like
the whole thing is coming back so hard. The death
kind of like I like
goth
that.
Shit. That pure inspired stuff.
Yeah. So the band Dead. I like their name. They have like a Smile Now Cry Later cover. So like the throwback there. I also like Anderson .Paak a lot.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Of course, like Hometown. He's putting out. He put out Oxnard album, Ventura album,
right?
Malibu. I know he's like not as new as some of these other.
But, it's fucking. That's pretty.
Yeah, so I like Anderson .Paak a lot, and yeah.
Yeah, I've been listening. I can't stop listening to that band Idols. Have you heard that shit? Oh, it's so good.
I've heard the name, but I haven't.
You would dig it. They're British. The album, The Joy is the Act of Rebellion, I think is they have a newer one called Mono or something. Is also very good, but they're fucking incredible, dude. And the Viagra Boys, those two, I can't stop. They're like Swedish. I can't stop listening to them, dude. And it's weird. It's like Viagra Boys is almost like Talking Heads kind of shit. It's fucking weird, man. It's very good though. They're fucking massive now though, but anyway, there's I always constantly, and as my kids get older, they turn me on to shit and I'm like, wow, that's so weird, but all right, I kind of like that,
That's kind of where I was going next, was like, how do you hear about this? Where do you find the new music? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I don't mind listening to the radio every once in a while, so I'll hear something, and I'm pretty eclectic as far as it goes.
I haven't had
I'm a huge hip hop freak too. You know what I mean? Like, I love hip hop. So I listen to a lot of hip hop, and I even like new shit. You know what I mean? Like some of those mumble rappers are pretty decent. I stay pretty open as far as it goes, because the days of me being a bitter old fuck are way long gone at this point.
Like I read
it felt really nice to shed it, after a while.
I look at Pitchfork and like other music kind of things as they roll by, and every once in a while I'll pull out something and be like, that looks like something maybe I want to listen to.
Yeah.
And then of course Brooke still, he just texts me like, have you heard this?
Yeah.
Like out of the, like, haven't heard from him in months. Have you heard this? And I'm like, well, fuck yeah, that rules,
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
So Brooke still helps me. Yeah.
Yeah. You always got to have the friend that throws you the fucking bone every once in a while. You're like, oh,
yeah,
cool. All right. Yeah.
And he always knows what I like too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Actually, see, I just shared some. Whenever I share stuff with you, it's super old stuff.
Yeah.
Like, even like today, I was walking out here. I sent you some Joe Jackson song.
Yeah. I know. I'm like, are you listening to Joe Jackson right now? Okay.
I was. It came on, and I was totally trying to get home because I had walked too far, and then I was like, oh, I gotta get back. And then it was like time came on. I was like, oh yeah, cool, got the time. Let's go.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
No, but it's important. I mean, we need to preserve the old shit, because it's gonna, a lot of it dies, man. You know what I mean? It goes by the wayside. So as much as I was harassing you about, being the old guy, it is important to have,
okay.
we have to have people that really find value in that stuff. And I do too, but
yeah,
I'm in that zone too my kids are just that certain age where like I just can't keep up on anything.
Oh
current,
yeah.
where you're just like, people are like, oh, did you see that movie? Or like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
nope.
Huh? I don't watch movies.
like, no, I only like the old things right now because I can't learn new things. I can't grab.
Well, because when you're in the muck, right? You're in the trenches. You only have moments to celebrate your independence, and you do want to use them to fucking, excite yourself and experimenting on a new record. You're like, no one's got time for this.
Yeah.
No, exactly,
like, no, exactly. I have about 15 minutes before this kid kicks the fucking door open on the bathroom.
And I think, with our podcast, we pick a theme and then we pick our own songs and then we come together like a couple days before and like share with each other and listen to each other's mixes. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And, so I think there's that as well of like just exchanging mixes that we just don't do anymore. Right. Like I can make playlists for people and I do, and I make them for myself, but it's just, it's a little different when you're like exchange them and then you talk about them. That's the thing. It's like, we don't sit around and listen to an album and like talk about music or go to a show or do those things. And I miss that a lot.
I think your podcast does a great job of it because it is the conversation around music is as important as the actual music itself, and it's great, man. Awesome. You guys are doing a great job. I'm stoked for you.
Thank you. And that, that was the other thing I want to say was the DIY thing that like we didn't know what we're doing at all. And we were just like, let's do it. Like, and that's like what, the ethic, the whole punk rock ethos of the whole thing is like, you don't have to be to know anything. I mean, obviously I need to learn more about my microphones, but like you don't have to know anything to do this stuff. You can just do it.
You can figure it out.
Figure it out as you go.
If you can figure out how to record your own fucking record, you can figure out how to edit your own shit. You know what I mean? It's super easy now. It just takes the time, and you want to do it. And what are you doing it for? Are you doing it to try to get 1 million fucking subscribers? No. I mean, it'd be nice, but sure. I mean, it would be nice, but oftentimes when we put our heads down and focus on the things we love, people catch up to it. You know what I mean? And that's fucking how it goes.
It's just even when like people who are like Sarah Newton will be like, oh my God, what was this? Of like tell a story on the podcast and then she'll text me like a week later and I know she's listening to it because she's asked me about something on that. And that's just like, oh, it helps me stay also connected to people, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And that thing with the also just the feedback that we get when we put out an episode and people are responding to it, commenting on it, sending us those direct messages and text and being like, oh, I love that episode, or oh, the great picks and all that stuff. And that was the whole premise of the beginning of the podcast was we wanted to share music with other people. Like, hey, like I want to talk to you about this band or like this thing. And like that is what we have been doing. And like people have been saying to me like stuff like, hey, I never heard just yesterday someone was like, hey, I never heard Jerry Reed before, and I thought, and I've been listening to him because of your podcast, and I was like,
that's cool, man. Turning people on to fucking music it's one of the great, it was one of the things I loved about working at Salzer's. It's like, a kid would come in and go, hey, you look like a whatever, I'm into this, and I go, fucking, you got to check this out, dude. And 90% of the time they're like, fuck yeah, and I had kids, even Josh Hayes, like I mean, I that kid came in one day to me and I had never met him before, and he's like, dude, I want something that's like punk and fast but like catchy. And I was all, you need Hives, here's the Hives. And I fucking handed him the Hives, and he was like, holy shit, dude. And like we have been really tight friends ever since that day, you know what I mean?
That's right. Love the Hives. The Hives are so good. They're so underrated, I think. I don't know why. They're like one of the greatest live bands. They're just one of the greatest bands.
They're incredible.
So rad.
Yeah. I watched. I saw them with them in International Noise Conspiracy and Le Tigre. It was them, International and Le Tigre. Le Tigre. I don't know how you say it. I don't want to get canceled from Olympia. I'm already gonna get canceled from the Kenya Dawson fucking comment. So.
That's okay. Le Tigre's from New York. So
okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I feel like they own part of Olympia. Is that how that works? No.
Bikini Kill.
We
have Bikini Kill.
That's same channel. Anyway, well, hey, thanks for coming on the podcast, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Craig, for asking us.
Thanks for having us on.
We'll throw some links on there and all that shit.
Yeah. Hey, and one thing before you go, what's a good theme we should do?
Ooh, I don't know. I could think of it. I mean, there's always songs to take a shit to. How about songs that you can convince your kids you're cool?
Ooh, okay.
That's a good one.
I like that. I like that.
If you need some help, hey, if you ever need a guest, let me know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. We love having guests. It was really fun when we did the one.
I'll create a fucking playlist.
Cool.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Well,
awesome.
Rosie wanted to say hi, so I'll stop recording here. Let me see if I can grab her real quick.